Hello and welcome in to episode number 5 of Endless Ranting. We're back again, 2 weeks in a row. The motherfucking boy, Hogdale, I'm here. I kept my word. Second week in a row we're doing a show. We're doing it every week this year. I can't be stopped. I genuinely can't be stopped. The old me that couldn't stick to a schedule is dead. I killed him with a barbed wire baseball bat, much like how a character died horrifically in The Walking Dead. I will not spoil it, even though the show has been gone for a couple years now. But I still won't spoil it, because I'm not that kind of fucking guy. But we're out here. Listen. Nothing has happened. Nothing. The subtitle for this episode is dead. Because truthfully, in terms of actual substance, in terms of actual things that have happened in the world of sports, for the New England Patriots, nothing has fucking happened. Like, we had some head coaching interviews. Okay, fucking cool, neat. For the Boston Red Sox, nothing but 800 Tristan Cassis rumors that keep appearing out of nowhere happen, which is code for nothing fucking happened. Can something fucking happen? I'm so tired of fucking nothing happening, dude. It's infuriating. Someone said in the chat, Miners is Wander Franco here. Okay, we need to, not a great way to start the episode, but, so we're going to start off with some Patriots / football news, boys. So far, for the New England Patriots in their search for a new head coach, obviously the most obvious name out there right now is Mike Vrabel, and I'm going to give full credit to Alex in the chat, where he had a very funny term for it, because this is exactly what it is what do I think of the Patriots' insistence on basically, forcing upon us organizational incest by having Mike Vrabel be your head coach and potentially Josh McDaniels as your offensive coordinator, which amazing terminology, exactly true. And yeah, I don't know what they're trying to serve upon us. If that's the situation that the Patriots get, I'm sorry, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with that coaching group, man. Like, the only positive in Josh McDaniels is that you have no worry that he's going to get hired away. If he's a good offensive coordinator again, he's not going to get hired to be a head coach. He's never going to get another head coaching job again. But, I've been railing on this, man. I railed on it on last week's episode, where I've been saying over and over again, you need to get away from these guys that have ties to Bill. And I've seen some people, in regards to Vrabel, cope horrendously in the way that they're like, well, Vrabel isn't actually a Bill guy, because Vrabel didn't come up coaching under him. Yeah, he didn't come up coaching under him. He did play under him for about 10 to 15 fucking years. He did also coach with and under multiple Bill disciples like Bill O'Brien. Like, what do you... Stop. It's semantics. It's genuinely semantics. He's a Bill guy. He's been compared in the way he coaches to Bill in the past. Exactly. Like Alex just said, Logan Ryan said that he coaches like Bill. We need to stop. Stop with the fucking Mike Vrabel. If you hire Mike Vrabel, it's like I said last week, if you hire Mike Vrabel, the team will be better. He's a better coach than fucking Gerard Mayo, but that's not saying a lot, man. It's not saying a lot. Like, the team will improve. Like, they'll probably win, around 9 to 10 games every year. Maybe hover around a playoff spot. Maybe they'll make the playoffs a couple times. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with that, man. You need to stop fucking hanging on to Bill's way of doing things. If you wanted to hang on to Bill's way of doing things, you should go fucking rehire Bill right now. Genuinely. Like, if you are so obsessed with the way Bill does things, no one can do the things that Bill does better than Bill himself. So go hire Bill back. Oh, you don't want Bill. Why don't you want Bill back? Are we going to have a discussion? It's because how the last 5 to 10 years went. Interesting. So maybe we should fucking switch up here, go get Ben Johnson, get an organizational reset. It's not hard. It's genuinely not hard. The logic is not hard to figure out here. Just go get fucking Ben Johnson. Now, we did get some positive news on that front, because the Patriots did interview Ben Johnson today. And per ESPN's Diana Rossini, who's usually pretty dialed in about this kind of stuff, the interview went, quote, very well. So, hope is not dead yet. All the reports I've seen, all the rumblings that I've heard is that the Patriots are not like this is an actual coaching search. Yeah, obviously they have a predisposition to liking Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is a friend, obviously, of Robert Kraft and the Kraft family. But they're not deadlocked on Mike Vrabel. Like, this isn't just a purely everything else is like smoke and mirrors to get Mike Vrabel in. From what I heard, Ben Johnson, like, there's a real chance he could be the head coach of the New England Patriots. And I'm going to hold on to that hope because you pair Ben Johnson with Drake May, dude, we're going to be riding. We're going to be riding. It's going to be fucking amazing. Now, we got the interview stuff out of the way. I need to quickly move on to something that it happened earlier this week. It bugs me a lot. Boston media. And most of you probably know where I'm going with this. Jarren Mayo gets fired because he is not a good coach. He was a bad coach for the New England Patriots. I would even say he was a terrible coach for the New England Patriots, and he deserved to get fired. Absolutely. Everything I have ever heard about Jarren Mayo, the guy, is that he's a good dude, respectable guy, took the firing like a professional and like a champ, you know, and it was fine, professional. But hey, Boston media, you know what they do when a guy gets run out of town, when a guy gets fired? It doesn't matter, like, what team. Without fail, here comes the fucking smear campaign. Like, all of a sudden, rapid fire, like 5 or 6 different, like, new stories come out about, like, intricate ways about how Jarren Mayo is such a shitter and a terrible head coach. And, like, I'm sorry. I did want Jarren Mayo fired. I fucking, like, went on about it on Twitter. I said he never should have been hired in the first place before the season even fucking started. I'm sorry. I found out that Jarren Mayo was a bad head coach by watching the games and then them firing him. That's how I was able to fucking deduce that he was a bad head coach. Like, I don't need a billion smear campaign articles. And listen, dudes in the media will come out and be like, hey, you know, we're just doing our jobs. And, you know, what you just want us to, like, lie? You don't have to lie, but you don't have to fucking drag this dude's name through the mud. Also, say this is your job. So, you know what? Purely, this is your job, and, like, you just have to fucking do it. You have to record all these smears to the public without fail. Does anyone in nature respect vultures or crows that pick apart carcasses? Does anyone respect that? Does anyone look at those and be like, wow, what great animals in the animal kingdom? No one does! It's like, they're kind of reviled and hated for that reason, actually. The fucking carrion birds who are picking apart the corpse. Like, I'm sorry, say it is your job, okay, then part of the job is to accept that people don't fucking like what you do on occasion. And that people are going to be fucking annoyed with the way that you're doing things, because it's scummy. You know, like, when you're a landlord, and, like, fucking, like, like, okay, cool, your job as a landlord, and you, like, evict a single mother. Like, yeah, okay, sure, that's your job. Are you still a fucking asshole for doing it? Yeah, kinda. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about, dude? I mean, it's ridiculous. I hate it. And, like, listen, it'd be one thing if it was, like, a one-off and Jarren Mayo was this otherworldly disaster. These media people were fucking, like, buddy with him at the beginning of the season. They were. Like, it's like they're snakes. They're snakes, and they turned their back on him when it was most convenient. Because, you know, trying to get their, you know, get their quick buck right in their story. And you know what? Fine. If that's the gig, then that's the gig. I'm sorry. It's snake behavior. It's snake backstabbing behavior. And, like, you know, don't cry when people say it is such. It just is. Like, I'm sorry. It pisses me off, man. It's just not, it's not a one-off thing. This happens every time someone is fired, run out of town in some way in Boston sport. It's not just the Patriots. It happens with the Red Sox all the time, too. Happens with the Celtics. It happens with the Bruins. It's like, that's the reason the media is so fucking reviled here, man. Like, that's why. It's ridiculous. And, like, I don't know. I feel for Jarren Mayo, and it's like Ed just said, we just did this with Kenley. Exactly. Like, the smear campaign running him out of town. Fine, cool. Like, have fun writing your articles. I just don't give a shit. Just stop. Just fucking stop with the goddamn smear campaigns, man. It's not respectable. It's not respectable, and, like, fucking you guys pretended like you were this guy's friend. Oh, my goodness. I saw someone in the chat say, I missed the Cassis rant again. No, you didn't, actually, because we're actually in Patriots/football corner. Red Sox corner is soon. But anyways, man, I needed to get that out there. My thoughts on the fucking, my thoughts on just the way Boston media operates in regards to just shitting on coaches, players, literally whoever, just on the way out. It's without fail. This happens every fucking time. I'll move on to some other stuff here in the football world. Deshaun Watson. In better news and good news, Deshaun Watson exploded his Achilles again. And listen, for a lot of my life, I've been told, by my elders, by people who are supposedly more wise than me, that when they go low, you should go high. Now, and I've always had a problem with this sentiment. I very much have always had a problem with this sentiment because to me, I know I'm a good person. And if someone slights me, I've always been of the mindset, well, if they go low, I'm going lower. Because if you're a bad person, bad things deserve to happen, should happen to you. That's just how the world works. I've always been told, the karma is a thing that exists. Well, truthfully, if karma is a thing that exists, when a bad person has bad things happen to them, I should be happy. And, hey, Deshaun Watson, one of the biggest, well-documented creeps on record, explodes his Achilles for the second time, potentially even ending his career. I'm sorry, I can't help but be happy about it. I don't think I'm a monster for doing so. It's like when bad people die and people are like, hey, you can't make fun of him. He just died. Yeah, I'm sure when Hitler died, everyone really gave him that fucking, that grace period. No, I think he's just a bad guy and he deserved to get dunked on. And Deshaun Watson is a bad guy and he deserves to get dunked on. So, to Deshaun Watson, eat shit. Truthfully, he can be miserable right now with his Achilles because he's, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what happens to him. He's still making $250 million guaranteed or some shit. So, cool. At the end of the day, the karmic reward is you'll never play a good down of football ever again. And we can take solace in that. I saw some of the chat say, I never believe in respecting the dead when they pass. If they're a bad person, they deserve to be shit on. And it's if they're dead, they can't hear you. Very true. If they're a good person, you sing their praises till the end of time and you talk about how tragic it is that they were lost. If they're a bad person, sorry, I'm airing that bitch out. You're a fucking piece of shit. You deserve all the slander that comes your way. My apologies. Sorry, not sorry. Fuck, who gives a shit? In terms of football, though, boys, we're pretty thin today. That's kind of everything I have here. Is just fucking... nothing's happened. Nothing has happened on the football front. In terms of, actual talk, the Red Sox front, things have been getting interesting in regards to, a couple different situations here. Listen, obviously there's been a bajillion fucking Tristan Cassis rumors, and honestly, let me just start there. I'm so unbelievably sick of these leaks in the organization, man. With the Red Sox, during the Chaim Bloom era, you didn't hear anything. Good or bad, you heard absolutely nothing in regards to, reports about the Boston Red Sox. And, since Craig Breslow has come in, all of a sudden, seems like the ship has a leak. Now, who is that leak? I don't know. You can give educated guesses based on how, some of these comments are phrased or the certain subject of the, who's been being talked about. Come to your own conclusions. To me, it seems like it's obvious, but I'm not going to say that. Come to your own conclusions on who is the leaker. Because keep in mind, when things leak in an organization, there's a reason that the stuff is leaking. Someone is trying to push an agenda. Someone is trying to make sure that their message is being conveyed in the media because they feel maybe it's not getting through to the other people in the organization. So you always have to think with leaks, why am I hearing this? Why is it coming out? It's part of media literacy is to understand when a leak comes out, who has the most to gain from this leaking? So I've always tried to keep that in mind. That being said, I fucking hate these leaks, man. It's every day. Every day, it's the reworded version of a way that Tristan Cassis should be traded. And it's really frustrating. It's happened for days now. John Heyman. Oh my God, fucking John Heyman. When he put that article out where he basically did his typical John Heyman routine where he takes already available information out there puts it in an article, and then presents it like it's a completely fucking brand new, stunning revelation. Like his Cassis thing. It's literally just shit that people have already been saying for days. That everyone already fucking knows about. It's like, here's a stunning revelation, guys. The Red Sox would be willing to move Tristan Cassis, even though they've said otherwise. No fucking... Really, John? Really? I couldn't have deduced that. There's no shot I could have deduced that. It's insane, dude. It's genuinely insane. And, like, also, after Heyman, Ken Rosenthal just dropped an article. And, like, listen, I'm not going to lie. Absolutely based of Ken Rosenthal to shit on the Red Sox for not spending money. Good job on that front. Also, Jeff Passan did that within the last week, too. He shit on John Henry for not spending money. And I gotta say, heavy appreciation for both of these guys for doing what needs to be done in that regard. We need to shit on John Henry for not spending money. But if you read the rest of that Rosenthal article, you realize this dude has no fucking idea what he's talking about when he's, referencing the Boston Red Sox about anything. Talking about trading Marcelo Meyer and trading Kristen Campbell. You're insane. Stop. Your bow tie is cutting off the oxygen to your brain. I need you to just shut the fuck up and think for a second, dude. He just has no idea. Like, it's okay. Ken Rosenthal, one of the most respected reporters in the game. He's been in the game a long time. Smart baseball mind. He doesn't know ball in regards to talking the Boston Red Sox. And that's fine. But, like you can have those opinions, but, like, people who are actually dialed into the Boston Red Sox are going to say that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. And that's fine. We can both peacefully coexist. But yeah, man, I mean, the rumors, they've gotten out of hand. I wish we could go back to the Chaim era in regards to just the fucking not even Cassis rumors, just rumors in general. They're everywhere, they're nonstop, and I'm so tired of it. Now let me move on to, like, the next most obviously interesting thing in regards to the Boston Red Sox right now. Arbitration negotiations, I think is the best way to put it, have just started back up. We've gotten some information. Basically, like, every player the Sox have had into arbitration, like, it's gone fairly well, except for Jarren Duran. Now, Jarren Duran, I believe, filed at $4 million for his arbitration. For those of you who are uninformed in arbitration, basically, when a team goes to arbitration, the player will submit a number of what he thinks he is worth for the season. The team will also submit a number on what they think the player is worth for that season. And they either, like, they will, like, a number will be accepted on, like, beforehand, or, like, the two numbers will be sent to a neutral arbiter, to decide, like, what is actually the fair amount of money between those two numbers to allot to your player. So, okay, fair enough. Jarren Duran submits at $4 million. The Boston Red Sox submit at, I think it was $3.5 million. And this is going to full arbitration, it looks like, to this point. It said, like, they're going to the arbiter. And a lot of Red Sox fans have pointed out that it's a pretty bad look to basically nickel and dime a guy who had, I think, a 9-WAR season last year, over $500,000. And they'd be completely fucking correct to have that assessment. I'm sorry. Like, the only rebuttal I have heard to this so far is the Lou Merloni rebuttal, where he's like, every team does this in arbitration. It doesn't matter. It's not actually nickel and diming because every team does it. No, actually. Pointing to other examples of teams nickel and diming their superstar player does not make the current nickel and diming of our star player not nickel and diming. It's $500,000. You're going to go to arbitration over this. Like, I'm sorry. Like, fucking... And I've seen, like, guys like Red Sox Stats, who I love, great Twitter account. But I'm sorry. It was such a fucking Poindexter nerd, zero emotion thing to say when he came out and was like, oh, well, if you give Duran $4 million this arbitration, you'll have to pay him more, escalating over the next couple ARB years. I mean, I'm sorry. So, in the next couple ARB years, you'll have to pay Duran more when he like, after he plays well. So, like, the end result is, like, the dude played great for the Boston Red Sox. What's the problem? Again, this is a guy who had a 9-WAR season. You're nickel and diming him over $500,000. Nothing. This is pocket change to the Boston Red Sox organization. This is a guy, like, who played his heart out last year. Obviously, and like, this is probably what they used in terms of his the arbitration in order to get his number down. They talked about the 2 games he missed and why he missed that and how he wasn't a big fan of tennis. And, listen, Duran, and, I went over extensively during the season when that happened. Duran's a fucking idiot. He was a fucking idiot for doing that. But in terms of, how he's been as a player, what he's done for the Boston Red Sox, he was fucking spectacular last year. He's had one of the best seasons a Red Sox player has had in the last 15 years. That's how good Jarren Duran was. And we're going to shortchange this guy over $500,000? Give me a fucking break. It's cheap. For a team, this team is so bad in PR. They're so unfathomably bad at doing any sort of PR. They know the main criticism of them right now is that they're a bunch of cheap snake pieces of garbage. And you're not beating the allegations. You are not beating the allegations with this. It's not a good look. If the argument is that every team are cheap losers, I'm sorry, it's not a very compelling one. I saw, Lou, he pointed out, William Contreras with the Brewers, they're having an arbitration dispute that's a $2 million difference. And it's best catcher in Major League Baseball. I'm sorry, we're looking at the Brewers as a way to do things. Last couple of years, they're the gold standard of winning a World Series. They're the gold standard of keeping their players happy. Corbin Burns demanded a trade and wanted out of there because of an arbitration dispute. That was a real thing that happened. I was there. You were all there. We all remembered it. It was a thing that happened. Are any of us that, do we just not have the memory? He mentioned Kyle Tucker. He's having an arbitration dispute in Chicago. Yeah, Chicago, a team that hasn't paid anyone a significant amount of money for multiple years in 15 years? They just got rid of Cody Bellinger, the only guy I can think that they spent decent money on recently. They let every one of their players who won that World Series with them walk. Every one of them. And they're the gold standard of winning? No, they're fucking not. I'm sure Kyle Tucker's going to feel really great about getting shortchanged in arbitration by the Chicago Cubs. Yeah, I'm sure that'll really help him in his negotiations next year when they try to re-sign him in free agency. To me, all that says is the Cubs have no interest in bringing him back, and Kyle Tucker is a rental to them. It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. Yeah, exactly. It's people are saying in the chat, Tucker going to RB. It is crazy. It's ridiculous. I don't want to hear about other teams being cheap losers. That's fine. They can be cheap losers. We're the Boston Red Sox. Jarren Duran was a 9-WAR player last year. This is a guy who is already making fucking hay pennies compared to what he should be getting paid. And you're going to nickel and dime him over $500,000 more dollars. I don't know how you look at that and think the takeaway is good. So what, I think I made a tweet about this earlier. I'm rubbing my nipples at the thought of fucking John Henry saving $500,000. The only guy who should be giving a shit about $500,000 in arbitration is fucking John Henry. Anyone else you have genuine Red Sox or GM mode in MLB The Show brainworms. Stop. Genuinely stop. You had me at nipples. Very true. So, got that out of the way. I mean, listen, I don't think there's anyone here who disagrees that, the arbitration thing with Duran's a bad move. It just is. There are people making excuses. They can say what they want, but it's ridiculous. The Sox can make all the excuses they want about getting burned on big free agent deals, but this is true nickel and diming. It is. I mean, it's a great point. Absolutely great point. It's just pathetic. It's so sad to see this team on a day-to-day operational basis act like the fucking, the Minnesota Twins, the Seattle Mariners, the Cleveland Guardians, any other fucking loser team that you can think of who doesn't pay their players. Also, can I just say, in regards to, paying players thing, listen, man, I'm for the worker. I'm for the working class. I'm for the players. I always want them to get more money, not less, for the most part, especially in arbitration. In baseball, the situation you get set up in is the first, you're not going to make any real money in terms of what you should actually be getting paid until about 7 years into your career. And it sucks. I want these guys to make the money they deserve to make. Duran fucking deserves it. He was great last year. He was an idiot at one point. He said some fucking dumb shit. I completely agree. But he deserved the money, man. He deserves the money. And the Red Sox way of thinking right now is probably well, his game isn't going to age very well. His game is going to age like Jacoby Ellsbury. So we have no reason to think about extending him in the future. So we're just going to nickel and dime him at every single moment possible to make sure we have to pay him as little as possible throughout his entire career, because we know we're not going to extend him. We're going to use him, we'll burn him out, and like we'll throw him away. Which is sad. Like, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be applauding fucking baseball teams for acting like that, man. You shouldn't applaud them. You shouldn't be like, wow, what a fantastic team. Bravo. I'm tears of joy in terms of what you're doing here. It's a joke. It is a complete and utter joke. So, in terms of, I was mentioning the rumors earlier, the leaks, let's move on to the fact that the subject of those leaks, Tristan Casas. And, like, listen, I've been yelling a lot about Tristan Casas lately because there's been a lot of things to yell about lately in regards to Tristan Casas. The latest is that, basically, the rumors have been that, you know, the Cardinals would be the trade partner right now, and that Casas would either be directly involved for the deal for Nolan Arenado, or Casas would be traded in a corresponding move to put Nolan Arenado on the Boston Red Sox. Now, there's a big problem with that, and namely that Nolan Arenado is bad against lefties, and he has been for 2 years. Casas has actually been consistently better against left-handed pitching in his career over the last couple years than Nolan Arenado by a significant bit. His OPS was 50 points higher against lefties this year, and his OPS was 100 points higher the year before that against lefties. Per Ed, it also feels like blatant engagement bait. And honestly, that's a good point from Ed. It really is a good point. You really can't tell in regards to the internet right now and Sox Twitter, like what is engagement bait, what's rage bait, and what is actually real. The problem is that like actual established reporters have also been running with the rage bait, and just to get some cheap clicks on their fucking articles. And like, so now it makes it feel more legitimate because you get guys like a John Heyman talking about it. Like it's very, very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. If you move Casas in a deal for fucking Nolan Arenado, Craig Breslow is a genuinely bad GM. Like, it just is that. I will just say that. I will be fully off the Craig Breslow train if Casas is moved in a deal just to get Nolan fucking Arenado in the year 2025 on this baseball team. I am not against to having Nolan Arenado on this baseball team. You should get Nolan Arenado and then have him play third base, move Raffy to DH, and Casas should be staying at first, and that is a better team. If you take Casas away and add Arenado, you made the team worse. There just isn't an argument against that. Like, I'm sorry. There's nothing to be said against that. Casas needs to stay here. His value's down. The leaks from the certain camp in the Red Sox organization certainly doesn't want Casas here. I don't know if I think Craig Breslow thinks that way. I think Casas is going to stay here. That Casas for Luis Castillo could have been real bad, and I like Castillo. Dude, it would have been fucking terrible. It would have been terrible. It would have been a complete joke. Per Marino, this is referenced early in arbitration. I don't think it's nickel and dime. I think it's ordinary practice for this level of ARB as it compounds. It's like 7 to 8 million in reality now. I don't think it could be super bad because he's going to win at ARB and get like $3.9 million. It's standard practice to be cheap. It's standard practice to nickel and dime your players. I agree. Like that is standard practice. I do agree that's standard practice. I just cool. If a player's playing great, he should be getting paid more. Cool. Like, fine. It's cool. Like, operate like these fucking other loser teams, man. Operate like these other loser teams. Like, fucking, like, it's so sick. It's, in years past, like, $500,000 this year is like fucking Garrett Richards a couple of years ago, I think, signed a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. I think $500,000 is about 2% of a Garrett Richards. Fuck, man, $8 million is like not even a Garrett Richards. That's $2 million away from being Garrett Richards in his 1 year with the Boston Red Sox. Who cares? The only person who should care is John Henry. He can fucking suck my dick. He can suck my dick. Like, I'm sorry, $10 million? You gave that to Corey Kluber. For a guy like Duran, if he was making what he should be making based off his production last year, he'd be a $30 to $40 million player. And it sounds insane, but it's not. He was a 9-WAR player. Like, fine, it's $8 million. Sick. Like, fucking, John Henry can cry about that. That's fine. I don't give a fuck. like Marino, it's fine. That is a fair point to make, that it's not $500,000. It is $8 million. But my point still stands of I don't give a shit. $8 million to the Boston Red Sox is nothing. Like, especially for a player who's legitimately been great for you. A guy who's deserved every penny that he deserves to have. Man. But yeah, I mean, in regards, it serves for a good discussion. At least they want to save even more money, though. Like, yeah, John Henry has to buy his 11th yacht, and the reason we won't sign Alex Bregman is because he has to buy his 12th and 13th yacht. And, like, maybe we just have to live with that, like, as this team is a fucking investment firm, where winning is secondary, and truly the only thing that matters is being a for-profit enterprise. Shout out to capitalism ruining the Red Sox. Got it. Big fan of that. Remember, like, when this team, like, was ran, like, ownership, like, would fucking sell off their 2 kidneys in order to make this team win? Like, dude, it's just, it's so sad. It's so fucking sad. By the way, if you want to go $8 million per war, Duran should have made $60 million last year. Exactly. Like, it's just, I'm just so over it, man. I'm so fucking over it. Duran deserves the fucking money. Getting back to Cassis, though, before I got sidetracked. By the way, I don't mind getting sidetracked there, because that was it was good to have a bit of pushback there. Got me got a little bit of rise out of me. But like the most recent Cassis thing I've heard is like what, it's traded for like a catcher prospect from the Cardinals. It's like Herrera, fucking what the hell is it? Well, obviously Arenado and Ryan Helsley. And like, which is like a year of Ryan Helsley, because I think he's a free agent next year. And it's like, no thanks, I'm good. Like, Herrera played half a season. He was very good. That's fine. Good framer. I'd like him on the Red Sox, not for Tristan Cassis. Not for fucking Tristan Cassis. Are you kidding me? Tristan Cassis played 130 games and had an 850 OPS. Give me a fucking break. You don't have any first baseman in the waiting. Raffy should be DHing. Stop trying to put him at first base. It's ridiculous. And I was going to get to this later, Lemonade. But like you, as Lemonade says, isn't it wild to pretend Cassis is a personality problem when they just signed fucking Aroldis Chapman, and fucking Arenado has been sitting there sulking now for his second team. By the way, I don't blame Arenado for sulking on the Rockies. He should have been. The Rockies were a fucking pathetic joke of an organization. But yeah, he's like, he's sitting there sulking, pouting, throwing a fit, throwing teammates like under the bus supposedly in like interviews and stuff. And like, yeah, Aroldis Chapman is Aroldis Chapman, and you want to talk to me about fucking personality problems? Like, it's just, stop. Genuinely stop. It's not a personality problem. Like, I'm sorry, maybe like for certain people in the organization, but like, is he a wife beater? No. Is he a sexual assaulter? No. Okay, well, his main problem is he does Pilates and he doesn't like wearing a shirt when he does his yoga stretches at the beginning of the day. What are we doing here? Genuinely, what are we doing here? It's dumb. It's brain dead. Like, oh, well, he took a bit too long. Good to see you, Dylan. He took a bit too long coming back from his rib injury when his rib cartilage exploded, and we didn't like that. God forbid a player, a professional athlete, understand that, like, his body is the way that he makes his money and not come back before he thought he needed to. God forbid he actually get healthy first before he comes back. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, any perceived problem is, like, blown out of the water compared to, like, what actual fucking problems in a locker room should be. Give me a fucking break. In terms of people who have had problems with Tristan Cassis' personality, they've all been, like, the most unlikable people for the Boston Red Sox. Nick Pivetta didn't like the way that Tristan Cassis did things. Kenley apparently wasn't a huge fan of the way that Tristan Cassis did things. Xander, in his last year on the way out, was in the camp of people who didn't like fucking the way Cassis did things. You guys are... I love Xander, but when he was on his way out, he was a fucking loser near the end. He was a fucking asshole. And, like, he, like, negatively impacted, like, a guy like Cassis in the locker room. Didn't make him feel welcome. Looked at him like he was a fucking idiot loser. Like, okay, cool. Like, you guys are assholes. That's fine. Fine, man. Like he's a locker room cancer. Give me a fucking break. The young guys like him. Roman Anthony likes him a lot. Christian Campbell looks at him like he's a fucking big brother. Like, they love this guy. Marcelo Meyer likes him a lot. Seems to me like these young dudes who are the future of this team look up to this guy like he's a leader. Seems to me that that's the case. So, like, what's the fucking problem here? Is the generational divide that hard where you have a guy who's 100% sure of himself, who just kind of does his own thing, and like that is just so fucking like, you know, such a gigantic problem? Like, I'm sorry, unless this dude is killing puppies in his spare time, I don't want to fucking hear about Tristan Casas' personality issues. Again, you just signed a role as Chapman. Shut the fuck up. Stop. Genuinely stop. Like you see during that slump, he was in pain. He was also in pain fielding ground balls and swinging. Absolutely. Two players I'd be okay with letting go is Massa and Story. If we can unload Story's contract. Story's contract is sadly unmovable. I'm still excited to see Story play this year. It's just a matter of he just has to stay healthy. He just has to stay healthy. He has to get out there and grind. He's an amazing defender. I don't really have a ton of faith in what he can do with the bat now. But if he could just be a bat-first guy in the year 2025, I think that's fine. Even if he could just be like a league average hitter while posting amazing defensive numbers, it would really help this baseball club. I mean, listen, the Red Sox like notably got worse, like, and very visibly got worse earlier in the season when Trevor Story got hurt. Like the infield defense like took about a month and a half before it even became salvageable again. Like, it was awful. It was David Hamilton was single-handedly losing you games for about a week and a half stretch there. It was terrible. So like, I'm looking forward to seeing Story. Massa, I'd fucking like, you know, if this is the big problem I have with Massa, man. Like, when I mention DFAing him for the roster spot, people pull back. Like, they don't understand how the Boston Red Sox have used Masataka Yoshida. I completely agree that in the vacuum, DFAing Masataka Yoshida is a dumb thing to do, not a great suggestion. In reality, we see how the Red Sox treat Masataka Yoshida. They treat him like a part-time DH. Like, he fucking only faced righties. And, like, he missed 60 games. Or he missed, like, probably 70 games. He didn't play, like, 60 or 70 games for them. Like, I'm sorry, if you're treating a guy like a part-time DH, he's never going to get his value back, and, like, the roster spot can be better utilized elsewhere. Personally, in terms of getting rid of him, I'd attach a fucking prospect and ship him off somewhere. But, like, for some reason, like, the losers in, like, this front office appear not to be that creative or just completely unwilling to do that. It's $18 million. The Red Sox moved $200 million in dog shit salary into, like, 2012, which set up their 2013 World Series run. And yet they can't find the fucking creativity to move $18 million a year of Masataka Yoshida. Like, it's just not great. Like, you just need to figure it out. You need to figure it out. Story told Tom Caron at the beginning of 2024 that Casas was the leader in his eyes. Casas will be seen as a leader in this ball club if, like, they win this year. If the Red Sox are a playoff team this year and Casas stays healthy, he will be seen as one of the preeminent leaders in the locker room. I can fucking guarantee you that. Guys, like, we need to stop with the locker room cancer shit. Like, when this team literally had Manny Ramirez on it, and, like, he was one of the most beloved players in the history of this franchise. Manny was literally out in, like, the monster, like, taking a piss mid-game, and then also fighting equipment guys. Like, literally beating the shit out of old men equipment guys. And he's one of the most beloved players in the history of this franchise. Because they won. Because they won and because he was quirky. So, like, the second that Casas, like, is on a team while they're winning, like, he'll be seen as a massive clubhouse leader. His personality will be seen as exclusively a positive thing. That's just how it always works. Winning creates good leaders. That's just how it works. Like, leadership, like, I want Bregman just to help fill the gap of that leadership because we haven't won anything with these young guys on here, so we don't have these leaders yet. Bregman has obviously already been there, done that. I'd love to see him on this team, you know, just to, you know, add to the leadership core. But, like, this team will have leaders if they win. I fucking guarantee that to you. Like, no one wants to hear a rah-rah speech when you're bad. No one wants to hear a rah-rah speech when you're mediocre. That's just how it works. It's just how it works. Man, so Manny was a shit human being, but an awesome player. Manny just loved ballin', man. He did love ballin'. Can we get a talk about Mazda getting a third opinion on his thumb injury because it didn't feel right and didn't trust the Sox doctors? It's something definitely to look out for. Honestly, the most concerning thing regarding Masataka Yoshida then at the time was the fact that he came out to the media and talked about how much he didn't like the current situation that he was in platooning. Japanese players don't do that. It's just not a thing that Japanese players do. They don't, like, disrespect the manager. It's a major respect thing for them. And I remember it was a massive, massive red flag. I pointed that out when that happened. It's insane to see a guy like fucking Masataka Yoshida come out and basically do his equivalent of like lambasting the organization for, putting him in the position that he's in. If it was up to me, you just play him and try to gain his value back up. Truthfully, it was up to me. I just trade a prospect to get rid of him because, like, no thanks. I'm good. We can be done with him. We can absolutely just be done with him. Move him off of the roster spot. Maybe free up a little bit of money. Even if you eat like half that salary, it's better to free up $9 million than to just keep having it $9 million per year on this baseball team. Like, it's just, we need to stop. You just need to stop with Masataka Yoshida. I'm just kind of done with him. Devers is not a leader, but he is the face of the club. We need Bregman in the club, a veteran with great leadership experience. Duran right now, I feel like, is the everyday leader. And that's concerning for, tennis-related purposes for last year. I love Jarren Duran. I think he does a great job leading by example. I think he can be a vocal leader. But I love Jarren Duran. But, yeah. And, Rafi is not a vocal leader. He never will be. And that's fine. He can just come here every day and mash. That can be his role. That's the biggest reason I want Bregman, honestly. Listen, he can't hit lefties. Casas is, again, when I said earlier, Casas hits lefties better than Arenado. Casas hits lefties better than Bregman, too. And he has for the last couple years. That is how it's been, going. But I do want Bregman on the team because he brings in, his hitting profile is good for the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox have a lot of guys that strike out a lot. Bregman doesn't K that often. He walks a good amount. Hits for not that much power the last couple of years, but hits for some contact. Obviously gets on base. I want Bregman here. He does also bring the intangibles. No one has been there and done that more than Alex Bregman. The dude is a fucking proven champion multiple times over. Playoff performer. Great guy. I would love Bregman on this baseball team. There's zero reason that he shouldn't already be signed for this baseball team. To me, he's a guy you throw the money at and you don't even fucking think twice about it. You just don't. I've seen some arguments here in the chat about, playing Massa in left field. I don't mind playing Massa in left field. I really don't. But the Red Sox have already shown that they will never play him in left field ever again. This is why I don't, want him on the team. This is why I wouldn't mind if he gets DFA'd. Because they only play him at DH. They only play him at DH, and they fucking platoon him at DH. It's not good enough. That's not a guy who can be your everyday. He can't be on this team. He doesn't provide enough value if you're only going to play him against fucking righties. It makes no sense. He's not even a bad lefty hitter. The Red Sox just have this caveman way of viewing lefties and righties in terms of bats. It's just fucking. They look at Casas and they're like, oh, he's a lefty, and so that means obviously he can't hit lefties, and they fucking platoon him. Platooning Tristan Casas the last couple of years has been some of the dumbest thing I've ever seen. This is a guy where he doesn't struggle against lefties. He's worse against them compared to righties, but he's still an above average league hitter against lefties. My God, man. It's ridiculous. Our DH is a contact first hitter and doesn't hit home runs. What happened to the game I love? My God. Hey, Hogdale, guess what? Chicken butt. For Wyoming. But yeah. Listen. The Masataka Yoshida, I've had the conversation 100 fucking times. Casas is one of 4 lefties to hit a home run off of Tariq Skubal. Hey, man, that's enough. That's enough. Genuinely, extend him forever. Honestly, the Red Sox, even with Casas's, somewhat higher ask last year, should have gotten the extension. I love Tristan Casas so much. I will ride or die for Tristan Casas until the day I die. I've seen some people say about people of my ilk and a guy like a Tyler Milliken that we ride for Tristan Casas too hard. But no, again, it comes back to what I was saying earlier about keeping that same energy. So, the Casas hate is overblown and annoying, so I'm going to match that with my Casas love. And I'm going to exceed that with my Casas love because it's more logical because there's way more things to love about him as a player than hate him. It's just how it is. Casas hasn't said a word during this whole thing either. He hasn't. The only thing he said is when the trade rumors were happening, and he's like, yeah, if they traded me, whatever, I get it. I feel like they probably have to fetch a good price for me. That's what he said verbatim. He's unbothered. He's unfazed. He doesn't give a shit. He shows up and he plays ball. Tristan Casas eats, sleeps, and breathes Major League Baseball. That's all he does. There's no reason to me to not like this guy. Like, he's got great potential in terms of like being a better defensive first baseman. He was a great defensive first baseman his entire minor league career. And I have no reason to think he's not going to get better just with extended playing time. I have no reason to think that he can't hit 35 to 40 home runs in a season if he just stays healthy. And if you're betting against a fucking 25-year-old in terms of health, I think that's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing to say. Be like the Tristan Casas hate crowd talks about this guy like he's fucking 38 years old and dying of fucking brittle bone disease. It's ridiculous. 25 years old. Imagine if the fucking Yankees had given up on Aaron Judge early in his career because he got hurt a lot. Imagine if the fucking Dodgers gave up on Corey Seager because he got hurt a lot. It's ridiculous. I think he put his health first instead of coming back, and Cora turned on him when he had that weird slump in September. Yeah, argument could definitely be made. Not a wrong thing to say. Thing is, though, is like, Casas slumped in September. You know who else slumped in September? The entire fucking baseball team in regards with the bat. Dude, no one could hit in September, and it was the second year in a row that no one could hit in September, by the way. It's dumb. It's ridiculous. Duran not getting a contract extension yet after the season he just had has to be so demoralizing. Being stingy over $500K when the organization makes well over that in a single home game. We did go over this, Dylan, and I do 100% agree. I understand the logic in not extending Duran because his game is probably going to age poorly, and you have him locked up for the next, 3 or 4 years. I get that. I'm not shortchanging him in arbitration, though. I hate shortchanging dudes in arbitration. It fucking pisses me off. It genuinely pisses me off. Someone told me the other day he's an injury risk because he played 86 games in 2021. He played 86 games in 2021 because he was at the Olympics. Casas haters make stuff up. It's crazy. They literally do make stuff up, and it's also they just completely disregard the fact that Tristan Casas played 130 games and had an 850 OPS and a 120 WRC+. That's just a thing he did. Fucking 856 OPS in 132 games. That's almost a full season. But they'll completely ignore that for the injury he had this year. It's dumb. It's patently dumb, and I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of hearing about fucking why Tristan Casas is bad. He's not bad. He's fucking great. He's gonna be a cornerstone for this team if they just do the smart thing and don't move him. Fuck me, dude. My God. If you're not extending him, just pay the money. Yeah, I agree. For Duran, yeah, don't pay him the money, man. Duran deserves to be fucking paid in arbitration. I'm done with the arbitration shit. It's very, very annoying. Just checking through my notes here real quick to make sure if I have anything else I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, I remember this. Not Red Sox related, but it made me laugh. The dude who fucking mugged Mookie Betts in the fucking stands at the World Series just got banned from every major league ballpark for the rest of his life. Which is extremely funny. And listen, I'm not a moral grandstander in regards to this shit. I understand why at the time Yankee fans thought it was funny. Because admittedly, it was a little bit funny. It was a little bit funny. I was laughing, especially for a team that had absolutely nothing going for them. They were getting pantsed at the World Series level. It's something that they could laugh about. That's fine. But at the end of the day, that guy's a fucking idiot. And that can't happen ever. I'm sorry, a dude can't be laying hands on a Major League Baseball player, let alone a superstar in Mookie Betts. He could have potentially gotten him injured. No fan should be doing that ever. And, yeah, he deserved to get banned for life. He's a fucking bozo. That guy's a fucking bozo and he got what he deserved. I get it. Again, they thought it was funny. In Yankee land, it kind of was funny, but that can't happen any day of the week. That guy needs to get the fuck out of here. And he did get the fuck out of here. Fuck that guy. I don't know if we should extend Duran because he's going to be 31 when he hits free agency, maybe a 5-year extension, buy up 2 years of FA. They could do that. I don't think they're going to. They don't need to. They really don't need to. Duran may be top 3 in MVP voting in 2025, and we still won't give him the money he deserves. I mean, shit, man, wasn't he... Or, sorry, he said top 3 in MVP voting. Was Duran... Did he get any votes for the MVP this year? AL MVP 2024. He should have gotten votes, man. He should have gotten votes. Did he get any votes? Even a 3rd or a 4th place vote? One sec. I can find that out, right? Jarren Duran. I feel like it should tell me somewhere if he ever got MVP votes. Maybe one of you guys in the chat know. He was top 5, I think. He should have been. I mean, dude, Jarren Duran, had a 9-WAR season last year. He was fucking unbelievable for this baseball team. He deserves all the money he can get while he gets here. Love him. Love that guy. Love that player. Boys, I've gotten through everything I have on my list. Is there anything specifically that you gentlemen wanted me to talk about? It could be about any sport. It could be about football, baseball, basketball, hockey, fucking soccer. I don't give a shit. I know a lot about sports. The only thing I do is I watch sports. So, boys, we're spitballing here. Is there any topic you want me to get to before I wrap this motherfucker up and I get going? I'm sorry it's not a longer episode. It's just that fucking nothing has happened. Nothing real has happened. I'm happy that we've been able to go about 50 minutes. Minutes? The fuck are you talking about? Been able to go 50 minutes just basically waffling about nonsense. Because, like, fucking... Like, there's not been any real stories of substance. It's basically just been bitching about the fact that this team is a bunch of cheap pieces of garbage and lamenting at the fact that the New England Patriots haven't hired Ben Johnson yet. Thank you for your service, King. Appreciate you. Leo made, but dude, fucking be nicer to fucking Marino. Marino's like a fucking, he's been here forever, man. Good guy. Can you slander Thomas Partey and Arsenal, please? As a Liverpool supporter, I'm gonna have to say fuck Arsenal. You have no chance in the Premier League this season, you absolute group of buffoons. I'm gonna need y'all to fucking take a lap and go fuck yourselves, brother. Pool on top. We're getting this shit. What is your recent thought on the recent Korean little person boxing match for the KMB belt? You know what? You got me? I didn't know this existed. You got me. Hands up. You caught me. John Henry refusing to extend Salah. Give me a fucking break on. Like, John Henry really has infected me in, like, multiple, like, different sports. Like the fact that Salah is going to be gone, probably. Like, he hasn't been paid yet. Like, Trent Alexander-Arnold is so unbelievably a Real Madrid player next year. He is so gone. He is absolutely getting transferred. That motherfucker is not coming back. Like, he wants to be in Madrid so fucking bad, and it makes me so sad. But, like, yeah, Salah is having maybe the best year of his career, and, like, fucking, like, he's going into the year, no contract. He might just leave on a free. It makes me fucking sick. It genuinely makes me sick, dude. Liverpool have been so good this year, dude. Top of the league at the moment. I think with a game in hand still. Wait, 1 second. Liverpool. No, let me just pull the EPL table. Man City's been dog shit this year, too. Compared to their standard. Fuck. 6th place, 34 points. Like, 12 points off of first. Like, that's insane. Liverpool 6 points clear of the table with a fucking game in hand. So, yeah. You know, that's my EPL thoughts. Saddens me to think of the league without him. Dude, it'd be so sad. And, like, honestly, like, I don't know what Liverpool does post, like, Mohamed Salah. Like, he's been, like, he's been the glue that has been holding the team together. He's just been the one constant. He's been unbelievable. Like, no matter, like, what happens year in, year out for Liverpool on a results basis, Mohamed Salah is just always there. You can bank on him to score, like, 15 goals a season. Like, just, like, bare minimum. Like, that's what he's going to do. And, like, he could just do more. So, yeah, I mean... Glad I get a little bit of Liverpool chat in here. Imagine being a Liverpool fan, Penguins fan, Red Sox fan, and an RFK Racing fan. I'd fucking kill myself, dude. It's bad enough I have to deal with John Henry in 2 sports. Imagine if you had to deal with him in all 4. I mean, as long as I'm mentioning, like, other teams that have nothing to do with our main 2, I'll mention the fact that I'm enjoyed, you know, under the radar, I'm a Leafs fan. For those who don't know, weirdly enough. You know, so I'll just, you know, do a little bit of a quick waffle about the Toronto Maple Leafs while we're doing bullshit. I'm liking how the Leafs are playing this season. I think the Toronto Maple Leafs have looked very well under Craig Berube. They've been playing a much more defensively sound brand of hockey. They've been getting the best goaltending they've ever had in the Matthews era. Has been fantastic. They're getting some great performances out of, you know, Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolarz. Sadly, Stolarz is hurt. But, I don't know. And, like, listen, I hate, like, doing this every year as a Leaf fan, being like, I have faith in the team this year, or I believe that the team could actually do something this year. But I do think that the Leafs have made a dedication to playing better playoff-style hockey this year. I think the way they've been playing on a game-to-day basis translates better to the playoffs. People have been saying it's boring. I would disagree. I'd say that, like, you know, if this is boring, then, like, you know, I'm glad they're playing the boring hockey so they can figure out how to do it properly when they get to the playoffs. They've been going to the net. They've been being physical. There's been a meanness, a mean streak to this Leafs team that's never been there before. So I've been very, very happy with that. Sox really going to trade Cassis to get 1 year of Helsley rather than pay Jeff Hoffman, LMAO. By the way, can I just say, what the fuck are the Toronto Blue Jays doing? I saw someone here say earlier that Jeff Hoffman, like, went 3 years to the Blue Jays. Yep. Finally someone took the Toronto Blue Jays' money. Extremely funny. 3 years, $33 million, $11 million per. That is literally nothing. Like, why are the Red Sox not doing that? Fuck if I know. Ridiculously dumb team. Imagine having a chance to get Tanner Scott and Alex Bregman saying, nah, I'd rather not. I hope they dump a truck of cash on Vlad. I want them to do that, but, genuinely, what have they done recently the last couple of years to believe that they're going to do that? It's so sad. Vlad, the situation where you trade Cassis, because you're getting Vlad next year. But truthfully, that's still dumb, because you should keep Cassis on the team this year, have him bowl out, and truthfully, if you still want Vlad, you trade him when Cassis has real value, and then you go sign Vlad. It's ridiculous, man. It's just genuinely ridiculous. And Alonso to the Mets. Oh, did that get finalized? Pete Alonso. I saw that he offered the Mets a 3-year deal, with opt-outs, but I didn't know if the Mets had taken that yet. So, I don't know. Yeah, Scott Boras, short-term deal. Obviously happens all the time when his guys can't get the money that they want. So I'm not surprised that they did not. Okay. It's in the works, though. I could believe that. I could absolutely see Pete Alonso going back to the Mets. Honestly, don't know who else he's going to. Major League Baseball doesn't really give much of a shit about first baseman right now. Dudes just aren't really getting the money that they deserve to get when they're playing at first base. The Sox have Rappy at first base. Fuck, I'm gonna kill myself. But yeah, Poppy said the offer was $600. Holy god damn. I'm starting to heavily doubt that they had $700 million on the table for Soto. I could believe they had it on the table. I do believe that they knew that wasn't going to be enough to get it done. I can believe that for sure. I'll have the conversation that maybe their pursuit of Soto isn't as fucking ravenous as they said it was going to be. We only offered $600 to Soto. From everything I've heard, it was $700. But 1 second, Red Sox offer to Juan Soto. From per Sean McAdam, who's usually very reliable on this kind of stuff, it was 15 years, $700 million. That's, Sean McAdam is usually pretty dialed in regards to that stuff. I trust his reporting. I think $700 million is fair, which is still $100 million short on what the actual offer was, because the Mets offer for Soto is still $800 million. Per Hector Gomez does know what he's talking about. David Ortiz, the Red Sox tried to sign Juan Soto, but they only reached $600 million. Weird. I don't know where Sean McAdam would have gotten his information then. I don't know. David Ortiz has no reason to lie. I don't know. Only $600 million is embarrassing for the Soto sweepstakes, considering they fucking knew what was going on. You believe anything Hector Gomez says? LOL. Hector Gomez is actually usually very dialed in when it comes to Dominican guys. I believe he had Raffy first before anybody when Raffy was negotiating his extensions and shit. He's very dialed into the Dominican crowd. Maybe present value or something? Maybe. I don't know. I do trust in Sean McAdam's reporting, though. I don't think he pulled that number out of his ass. But I don't think David Ortiz would lie. So, I don't know. Conflicting stuff out there. It wouldn't surprise me if they only went up to $600 million. It just wouldn't, based on the way the Boston Red Sox have been operating the last couple of years. But, yeah, man. I think that's going to do it for us, gentlemen. We'll stop it there for episode 5 of Endless Ranting. Boys, appreciate every one of you for coming out here. I'm going to stick around here. I'll chat with you guys for a bit longer as well, just waffling around. But this is the end of the episode. Follow me on Twitter at Hogdale_. If you want just me, purely Pat's podcast, go ahead and tune into Pod by the River. Find that on anywhere you stream podcasts. Appreciate every single one of y'all for coming out. This one will be up on Twitter, or not Twitter, fucking YouTube and every other platform, basically as soon as I'm done recording and talking with chat. So, everyone, thank you for coming out. Have yourselves a fantastic night. Go Sox. Go Pats. Love y'all. Goodbye.